In the previous video, I gave you guys the basic rundown on how to play a Blade Dancers, and in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys the advanced version of the Lightning Blade Dancers build and guide instead. Before we start, as always, I just want to let you guys know that I stream regularly over on Twitch, so be sure to follow over there and of course subscribe to the channel. Your main styles is now going to become, you want to cast Fatal Blade, and then this gets put on a cooldown, and then with the cooldown reduction Lightning Flash, every single time you cast this, the cooldown of your Fatal Blade or Storm Cleave is going to go down. So here I have a 23-second cooldown, and then cooldown reduction, cooldown reduction, cooldown reduction. You can see the cooldown go tick faster. So your main play styles right now is going to be to basically be Storm Cleaving or Fatal Blading, and then spamming the cooldown reduction on your Lightning Flash to get the cooldown of these up or down, and then do it again. That's going to be the main playstyles moving forward. So with that being said, your number one priority is going to get the Storm Cleave books as soon as possible. This is what actually unlocks the Storm Cleave ability as well as Fatal Blade, and it changes your playstyles dramatically, so this will be the number one priority. But in this video, I'm going to be going over other tips that will help you out even if you don't have this ability as well. First thing first, you want to make sure you pick up the Thunder Slash ability. Now this is actually available in the Nameless Agent right now. As of the latest patch, they added the brand new Stage 5 skill book in, and you can pick up the Thunder Slash ability in the agent now. This is not available in the previous patch, and this is a really good pickup. It replaces 5-point strike, but most importantly, it reduces the focus cost to 0, and it has a lower second cooldown. So this is a really good gap close ability that also puts you in draw stance. Moving on to your books, Rotary Blade, I keep on the parry. This is really useful. This is your defensive ability. Ray, obviously get the blue ray as soon as possible. This upgrade from +3 focus to +6 focus, and it's going to be a really big major point to solving all your focus issues when you're doing the Lightning Flash combo, which seems to be one of the biggest trouble Blade Dancers have early game, is that you run out of focus relatively quick, and with the free additional focus, this does help a lot out. This is the first ability that you can consider going for even without Storm Cleave, just because even if you're just playing the Lightning Flash playstyles right now, this will still really help out a lot because it will help you manage your focus. Soaring Falcon, Focus Recovery, like Ray, this gives you +4 additional focus when you hit it. Now the thing to understand is that the Focus Recovery from the Ray and the Soaring Falcon does not stack. So if you do this, and then you do the Ray, you will only get the focus generation from one of them, so you don't get 2 focus at the same time, and you will still run out of focus relatively quick. So make sure you're kind of spreading them out. So if you do like a Soaring Falcon, I would use a Thunder Slash to gap close instead, so that you can get the focus generation from the Soaring Falcon, and once your focus starts going down, use your Ray to regenerate focus once again. I think this is another book that's worth going for. Ray is relatively expensive right now. It generally hover around 3,000 gem, but the Soaring Falcon Focus Recovery hover only about 1,000 gem right now. This is actually the first book that I bought. I spent 2,000 gem on this book, and it really helped a lot because what you could do when you're up in the boss is you could do this and then do your Ray, and when your Ray is on cooldown and is out of focus, you could SS out Soaring Falcon, Thunder Slash to go back, and this will really help a lot in your early game to just get that focus, and then you can Ray again. It really helped you maintain your combo. It really helped you clear the later dungeon even without Storm Cleave, so this is something I would also consider going for if you don't have enough money to afford the Storm Cleave quite yet. I think technically in late game where you don't have any more focus issues, going for the bleeding is actually better. If you don't know what bleed does, it basically reduces the enemy boss regeneration, so it's basically do damage over time, and it's really good if your team doesn't have someone to consistently apply bleed. A chaos that can consistently apply bleed are like summoners and stuff like that, so if your party already have someone who can bleed, you don't need it, but otherwise getting a bleed for your party and keeping it up as much as possible would be really good, especially if you do not need the focus generation. Flicker. Flicker, personally, I actually just keep it on the green version. I think there is not a big reason to go for the connector version when you are at this stage of the game. It will help you build up stacks faster for the first rotation, but it doesn't really benefit that much after the first rotation because you're more limited by the cooldown rather than stacks. So I feel like building stack faster is not a big deal, and the flicker actually do more damage. It might look small, but it actually really add up over the course of a fight when you're doing a lot of flickers, because flicker is actually one of your biggest damage source as well. So I actually prefer to just keep it on the green version of the flicker. I actually just got the connection book off a chest from my last dungeon, and I feel like at the current price right now, I would actually just sell this. So I would actually keep Flicker on green, but you can also consider going for the connection if you have like spare money, if you just really want it. Moving on to your free ability, you have Fissures or Grand Vortex Slash. I think both of these are a really good choice. Fissures, it's really good for your focus generation. It does have a long cooldown, where Grand Vortex Slash is a knockdown that also additionally generates you free recovery focus. So instead of costing 2 focus like the ankle biter, this one actually gives you plus 3 focus. So it's like a free knockdown and more. So it's also really nice. It just really depends on what you want to go for. Obviously, one of the biggest benefit of Blade Dancer is that you already have one of the default knockdowns, so you technically don't need another one. But having 2 knockdown is a really good benefit to do dungeons where you can just combo to ensure 2 of them. The way the Fissures ability works is that when you are out of focus, you can kind of drop this on the ground and it'll regenerate you 2 focus at a time over time. So this is another really good skills if you're having focus problem in the early game, just to get your focus back, because not having to do this like slow attack to generate your focus back is going to be one of your biggest DPS gain in the early game. You can combo your Fissure skills into your Storm Cleave, and then this gives you the focus to do your Lightning Flash. The big thing of Storm Cleave is that it costs you free focus, so by comboing like this, it ensures you have focus for your Lightning Flash, which is really important to ensure because you want to proc your Mystic Badge as much as possible. Once you completely eliminated your focus issues by upgrading your other skills, maybe even to some of the purple versions later where they cost you less focus and generate you more focus, then I'll definitely switch to Grand Vortex Slash later. The next ability we have to talk about is Lightning Draw. This is a ability I actually consider keeping on the green AoE version. The blue version you want to go for is Charge Stroke, but it does significantly less damage. You can see it does 5,000 less base damage right now, and it also loses that additional effect where you do even more damage on a knockdown enemy. And this is just really good for like PvP. This is just really good for securing last hit on your world boss. This is just really good if you can combo it properly on like a knockdown with your party. So I just actually really like doing Lightning Draw. Charge Stroke is obviously really good. It leaves like an AoE puddle on the ground that do lightning damage. But also the most important thing about Charge Stroke is that it gives you 4.5 critical rate on top, because it does 1.5 critical rate buff, stacking up to 3 times. I feel like this is not that big of a deal to go for. It's not that expensive on the auction house either, so I just figure I'll just save the money. Like 1,000 N coin save, it's 1,000 N coin save. So I just keep the Lightning Draw for now. Flaming Scourge. Flaming Scourge is another really good one, especially if you have Storm Cleave. That's because this gives you 30% critical hit rate, and it also gives you a bunch of focus, and it also gives you Electric Surge. So you really want to combo this together with Storm Cleave. The way it works is that you just pop it, and it'll give you Electric Surge over time. It'll give you a bunch of focus over time. Oh, I didn't use rate, but most importantly is that it gives your crit rate, and you really want to crit on your Fatal Blade because this is massive damage. So you really want to combo these two together to get the additional crit rate to ensure that your Fatal Blade has a higher chance of critting. The reason I don't do the same for Lightning Draw is because I feel like that 4.5 overtime crit rate is like not as a big deal in comparison to just getting like this. Lightning Flash, make sure you're on cooldown reduction as soon as you get Storm Cleave. You should already have this. Some people like going for additional damage when they don't have Storm Cleave just because it do more base damage. But make sure you're switching over to like cooldown reduction as soon as you get this, because the entire build works off the combo of these two. And of course, for the Storm Cleave, you want to go for the Storm Cleave. The way this works is that every single time you do Lightning Flash, you get a Electric Surge stack. At 20 stacks, you will convert it to Fatal Blade, and that's what happened to my Surge stack there. Okay, at 20 stacks, it get Fatal Blade, and this is what do your big damage. So again, pop your Scourge for crit, and then Fatal Blade to do the big damage. It's important to understand that once you hit 20 stacks, you have 10 seconds to use your Fatal Blade, and if you don't use it, you lose it. So you want to make sure you use it immediately. But the other thing is that Fatal Blade is on a separate cooldown than Storm Cleave. So in theory, you could Storm Cleave immediately after Fatal Blade, but generally speaking, what you want to do is to get 16 stacks before you use Storm Cleave. That's because Storm Cleave also do more damage based on your stacks, but the thing is that this do the same damage if you have 16 stacks and 20 stacks, so it's a range. So you want to have 16 stacks and then Storm Cleave for maximum damage. once you get Storm Cleave, you want to make sure you're going for the Fatal Blade Mystic Badge as well as Soul Badge. The way the Mystic Badge works is that after you cast Storm Cleave or Fatal Blade, your lightning draw will reduce the cooldown even faster. So when you cast Storm Cleave, you can see that you get the Mystic Badge buff. And then when you are using your Lightning Flash, your cooldown will go down significantly faster than without the badge buff. So you want to make sure you're casting Lightning Flash as much as possible once you have that buff up. So the ideal way to do this would to be make sure that you have your focus generation skill up, Fatal Blade, and then as soon as that happens, spam as much Lightning Flash as possible to make sure that cooldown goes as fast as possible. Make sure you're not double stacking the buff, so once you Fatal Blade to get the Mystic Badge buff, if you Storm Cleave right now, you don't get the buff again. So make sure your Mystic Badge buff run out before you Storm Cleave again to get the buff, and then reduce your cooldown. Phantom Grip. Phantom Grip is a really good ability to get the blue skills for. The focus recovery will ensure your rotation goes significantly smoother. Every single time you grab an enemy and you attack them, you can get the focus generation easily. With the focus recovery unlocked, when you grab them and when you hit them, you get a lot more focus. So you can click 2 and you get focus like that. So it's really easy to get your Blade Storm off, which is what you should be trying to go for every single time you grab an enemy. As a Blade Dancer, every time you can grab an enemy and grab a boss, you should, because it gives your team a really good DPS uptime, but it also lets you class Blade Storm, which is a ability that does 1 billion damage and it's really good. Personally, if you can consistently grab the enemy, I'd actually prefer to put points into here because the scaling just really good. It goes from like 13,000 damage into 18,000 damage, so that's just really good. And other tips when it comes down to the grab is that you can actually extend the grab a little bit by using like a skills at the end of the timer. So here, if I cast it, I can get like a 1 second extension. Once again, it's very good for team DPS. With that being said, here's the combo I found worked the best for me so far, where I start with Soaring Falcon into a Thunder Slash to open. You want to make sure you use Thunder Slash here instead of Ray, lightning draw, and then attack a little bit. And while your Soaring Falcon is still generating focus, you can cast the Flaming Scourge as starting stacks. I like to cast it late because you want to ensure that the crit rate buff is going onto your Fatal Blade, and then Fatal Blade here as soon as possible. Once you cast Fatal Blade and stuff like that, make sure you're trying to do as much Lightning Flash as possible, so you generally want to be using your focus generation skills before your Fatal Blade or Storm Cleave. And when you're running out of focus, you can either use Ray or Fissure to generate them again, and then your combo here just become get 16 stacks, do your Storm Cleave, do your Lightning Flash to reduce the cooldown until you can do it all again. When it comes down to using your Fatal Blade, make sure you're keeping track of the cooldown timer. If your cooldown on your Fatal Blade is almost up, or your cooldown on the Flaming Scourge is almost up, you should try to combo these skills together. So like if you have 20 stacks and your Fatal Blade is like a 2-second cooldown away from being ready, definitely save your stack for your Fatal Blade because I think it's just more valuable that way. The final and the most important skills to go for is going to be the Homewound block. This is the Ally Protection Maelstrom ability. I think this is the most important thing to try to grab. Most people don't go for this because it doesn't increase your damage somehow, which is true. But the reason why you want this ability is because the way it works is that you can spin and then this F button pop up, and your entire party will be immune to damage for the next free attack for 5 seconds. And every time it get hit, it resets the 5-second cooldown timer. This is really useful to skip past mechanics in the later dungeon like Black Rum Supply Chain. But the most important use for this is to prevent your teammate from fucking up in the late game dungeon. If your teammate got hit by like the Pohara knockup attack, you can just Homewound block to save their ass, and it's just really good. So if you're pugging endgame dungeon, highly recommend this because this is the anti-fuck your team button kind of thing. So with that being said, hopefully this helped as a starting point. The most important thing when it comes down to Blade and Soul is to be adaptive. Enemy always do different things and stuff like that, and I'm on really high ping, so my animation cancel are not as clean, or my rotation in general is just not as clean. But it's come down to just do what you feel like is the best in the current moment and stuff like that. So hopefully this helps start as a starting point. With that being said, as always, subscribe. Bye bye.